What's up,
What's up,
guys?
guys? I'm Ashita.
And I'm Jade, and we're the chapter leads for Superposition Fremont.
Today we'll be continuing our exclusive Q&A interview series. In this week's episode, we will be interviewing various club leads from Irvington High School.
On today's panel, we have the club leads from Irvington High School's Girls Who Code Club, Girls in STEM Club, Coding Tomorrow Initiative, Science Olympiad Team, and Math Club. We're super excited to interview them, and I know you guys are too, so without further ado, let's just hop straight into it.
So let's get started. I'm here with Science Olympiad's president, Tanya. How are you doing, Tanya?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you for asking. So can you expand for me what Science Olympiad at Irvington High School is and what you guys do?
So Science Olympiad is essentially a competition that runs throughout America. It's a science competition where teams of 15 students work in groups of 2 or 3 to compete in 23 events. And these events are things like anatomy and physiology, boom lever, forensics, astronomy. We have a lot of different, a wide range of science events. So at Irvington, the way this works is that we have 4 officers managing 2 teams that have 4 alternates each. So in total, we have 38 people in the club. And what we do is compete at competitions. So these could be invitationals, which are practice tournaments, and then regionals. One of our teams hopefully does well enough at regionals to qualify for states. And normally we do. So I think we're doing pretty okay right now.
Wow, that's really cool. So I wanted to ask more about your plans for this upcoming year.
Yeah, so right now we're in the process of forming a team. Tryouts are coming up pretty soon. And then depending on whether it's possible with the whole COVID situation, we'll hopefully go to 2 or 3 invitationals, whether they be online or in person. And then we'll compete at regionals, and based off of our performance there, we'll see how it goes.
Wow. I wanted to ask how your club is helping out for the COVID-19 situation.
So right now our competition has been moved online just because they don't predict that 400 students fit in one area. So that's how we're competing. But the way that our club will hopefully try to help with this entire situation is through Nordic Invitational. So last year we ran a practice tournament basically for middle school students where we had 400 students show up, and we had this entire tournament run by high school students. And so that was in person, and based off of how it goes, if we can have that in-person situation, in-person invitational this year, then we'll do that. But if not, then we'll try to do it online so that kids, middle schoolers, still have that mentorship and that practice that they need.
Yes, I'm glad to know that Science Olympiad is open for everyone. So I wanted to ask, this is more of a personal question. How did you overcome the fear of being judged as a club leader?
Well, the first thing that I always do is just remember that I've been doing Science Olympiad for 8-ish years. So I know the ins and outs of the entire club, and I know what's happening. So that just kind of gives me a little bit of self-assurance. But another thing that I do is, instead of being scared that I'll be judged, I welcome constructive criticism. And that's through creating bondings, creating an open platform and making Science Olympiad feel like a family, so that if members ever have issues with the things that we're doing, they tell me and I find ways to fix it.
Nice. So since you mentioned that Science Olympiad is a competitive team, what are some characteristics that you look for in potential club officers and members?
So for officers, the main 2 things are that they're passionate about Science Olympiad and they're hardworking. Because we have 40-ish people in our club, and it's a lot of money and time spent within this. So whether we're traveling to invitationals, logistics for those kinds of things, talking to parents, creating our own tournament, it's a lot of money and time that goes into it. So I just make sure that our officers are passionate enough to put in that effort, in order to make this entire thing possible.
Yes, definitely. Passion is one thing that I would definitely look for in officers too. So I wanted to know if there are any opportunities for people outside of your school, for instance, middle schoolers, elementary school kids, to get more involved with Science Olympiad.
So the first way, as I mentioned, is Nordic. So if you have a middle schooler or like an upper elementary school team that wants to compete at Nordic, then please go right ahead. We will be happy to have you. But otherwise, what I've noticed with Science Olympiad students is that they're very passionate about what they do, and they welcome other students, like mentorship and stuff. So if you ever want to learn something from an older student that's in Science Olympiad, ask them to let you sit in on meetings or ask them for mentorship, and they will be perfectly happy to do so.
Wow, and I wanted to know how we can contact such a wonderful club.
So we have an email. It's irvingtonscienceolympiad@gmail.com. Our Instagram handle is Irvington_Science And then on Facebook, you can message either me, Shivansh Baveja, Kripa Kimi, or Priya Chanda.
Nice. And I also wanted to know if there are any announcement you would like to make, any last words?
If you are interested in applying for Irvington Science Olympiad, then tryouts are this Saturday, August 15th. Join our Facebook interest group for more information.
Wow, thank you so much for joining me, Tanya.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So let's get started. Today I'm here with the co-president of Irvington High School's Math Club, Shivansh. How are you doing, Shivansh?
I'm good. Just sitting in my room. It's kind of hot today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So can you expand for me what Math Club at Irvington High School is and what you guys do?
So we try to do a few things. So one of the big things that most of you participate in are the lunch contests. So basically they're like short 5-question tests, and I give them once a week. And a lot of the teachers offer extra credit for however many questions you get right. So that's one of the big things we do. We try to hold a math bowl every year, although it's at the end of the year, so it got canceled this year. That's also for extra credit. We try to organize tournaments like Berkeley Math Tournaments, Stanford Math Tournament, Santa Clara Valley Math Tournaments, so that if students want to go, they can go. We have some online contests like Math Madness, and we give lectures weekly during lunch. Well, not anymore because school's not in, but normally we'd give weekly lectures so that if people want a topic they want to learn about, we can try and research it for them.
Oh, it's really cool. So what are your plans for this upcoming year?
So we've been planning to move all our lectures to Zoom. I don't know if we're going to be doing them at lunch anymore because people might have stuff to do while they're at home. So we might move them to right after school. But we're still planning on having the lectures over Zoom. I think one of the contests. One sec. Okay, so the camel contest is still going to happen because they created an online system. The asthma contest, it's still going to be happening, but we're going to be creating a Google form for students to submit their answers. And then one of the contests we had last year at Irvington, which was the App Pack, won't be happening anymore. But we're planning on writing our own 5-question contests. Each of the officers will probably write a few questions and try and put those out in place of App Pack, so students still have ways to get extra credit.
Nice.
Other than that, some of the bigger math contests, competitions that would normally be over the weekend are canceled. Like BMT is going to be rescheduled. Stanford, we don't really know. But math leagues are still happening over Zoom. Math Madness is still happening online. So a lot of stuff is still going on.
Okay, it's good to know that your club is like continuing and stuff. And how is your club doing anything to actively deal with the COVID-19 situation?
Not particularly. We are trying to partner with Key Club, who's hosting an event that donates 25 cents for every question that some of the students at Irvington solve. So hopefully that money will go to somewhere to help. We're also, that's generally what we're trying to do.
Okay, and this is more of a personal question. How did you overcome the fear of being judged as a club leader?
So I feel like at Irvington, there's generally a pretty good culture, especially with Math Club. Most people there are kind of just there to learn math most of the time. So there doesn't seem to be too much pressure to not be judged. But generally, if you just try and make the decisions that feel right for the club, so help the people who are part of the club and make everyone's lives easier, usually people will stay by your side.
And for people who want to become an officer or want to hold an office position, are there like any characteristics or experiences or qualities you look for in them?
Yeah, so generally we just want them to be coming to the meetings, coming to the competitions, just showing like general interest in the club. If you want to volunteer for some of the smaller branches, or if you want to host a guest lecture, or if you just reach out to the officers in any way and come show up to the meetings and take the contest, we'll probably take notice. And then when it comes time to apply, that'll definitely be a criteria.
Yeah, nice. And are there any opportunities for people outside of your school, like middle schoolers or students from other high schoolers?
Okay, so in terms of direct opportunities, I don't know of any. But Irvington Math Club does, I guess it essentially branches out to Coach Horner, Wybell, and I think Warm Springs, but I'm not directly involved with that. But I think parts of our club help to coach those teams. So, I mean, if you're from one of those schools in the area and you want to get involved with Irvington Math Club, I guess just try and join the math club at your school, and we'll interact with you that way.
Okay, nice. And any opportunities that you guys are like holding up, any competitions coming up, or any few last words?
We're trying trying to move everything online right now, but we're hoping to hold a math goal later this year, and we're still trying to write our own questions for lectures and contests. So yeah.
Nice. And how can we contact such a wonderful club?
IrvingtonMathClub@gmail.com, and if you look up Irvington Math Club on Facebook, the group will probably pop up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining me, Shivansh.
No problem.